Good day, good morning, viewers, and good day, everyone. So, it's Gentroos, the DJ again, coming up with your latest updates and feeds. So today we'll be covering the current affairs. We saw that the tension has not accelerated, even though the negotiations are going up as the U.S. regime promised 2%, as the U.S. regime promised 50% tariffs on those assisting Iran. And then we see some countries are already feeling the pinch of oil prices and diesel prices going up, and supply chain problems from air flights to, especially in Europe. Already people, residents are starting to strike, trying to find solutions on what can be done, how can they go forward. The next thing that we can cover, we see that most economists have spoken that the oil price won't be going less than 3 pence anytime soon. So we have to be really prepared on what's going to happen. We have to be really prepared, because the oil price won't be going less than 3%. So the inflation will hit for the longest of time. And again, there's still tensions, and there's supply chain management disruptions all over the world. So we have to be at the lookout. We see how things can be changed. And then I'll try cover a few economies of high income earners globally, the top 10. Then I'll give you 15 more, just to add some more spice. And then on an average, we see Switzerland, and then these figures are measured in USD, and these amounts are after tax. So basically, Switzerland is leading with, and the Swiss bank. Swiss bank is one of the best banks in the whole world. So Switzerland, we see the income is at around $7,200, and Luxembourg, the income is around $5,400. Then Singapore, number 3, we see at $4,500. Then Denmark, we see as number 4, it's 4.5 also. Then United States is sitting at 5. The income is around 4,500 after tax. These are in USDs. Then we see the Netherlands sitting at 6 with 3.7. Then we see Norway around 3.7, also number 7. When we see Australia at 3.7 also. And then we see Qatar sitting at 3.9 also. And then we see Israel sitting at 3.6. And then Germany sitting at 3.3. And then Hong Kong at 3.2, United Kingdom 3.2, and the United Emirates at sitting at 3.2 also. So we will see these are high income earners. And then you see United States at 5. We see Luxembourg. The other day I covered that Luxembourg is now surpassed 20 trillion in asset management, and hence they are on top. And Singapore has been a hub. Though it's a small country, however, they concentrated on education. What has to be done with regards to education. Then we see Europe. Then we see United States as an economic hub coming in. Qatar, we know they don't have their tax. Their tax is one of the flexible taxes they have in the world. If you look at there's place like Qatar. And then we also see Israel. Even though there's tension, they are still high income earners, and they're in the top 10, around 3.5, along with the United States. So it's quite interesting when you see these figures. And then we see the UK also in the list, but around 14. So these are quite interesting. These are high income earning countries. So for today, I'll just be covering this, and look at other things later on, like the total African exports in 2025. Like South Africa is sitting at it's in the top 5. So I'll just outline, because of Africa is more of mineral based. We're more producer of minerals. So sitting at number 1, you see South Africa with around $200 billion, and then the key exports we have, it's platinum, gold, which is also, it contributes a lot in mining. Platinum and gold contribute most in mining as an industry under primary sector. Then we saw automobiles. There's BMW, there's Nissan and everything. They are manufactured here, the EVs, then they sold to, and then there's Citrus, and there's Solar Tech. And then we also saw the military equipment have also increased in South Africa, and most countries buying those things are in the euros, like the Germany. Then the number 2 is Nigeria. Nigeria is sitting at 70 billion, and they are, like I said, since there is a supply chain disruption, crude oil can be found in Nigeria, and there's a lot of crude oil found in Nigeria. You see, there's crude oil, there's cocoa and leather. That's what they export, and it's sitting at around 700 billion. Then Angola is sitting at 60 billion, and then there's oil again. It's an oil. Again, people need to reconsider coming to Africa for new markets, for supply chain to end, the supply chain disruption to end. Then we see there's diamond, there's gases again, so we need to reconsider the other route, maybe the Indian Ocean to transport also, and reconsider the supply chain going forward to balance things up. And then we see Algeria, natural gas, petroleum, fertilizer again. We see the trend in Africa. Then it's around Algeria sitting at around 50 billion. Then Zambia is sitting at around 30 billion, which is copper and cobalt exports. Then DRC, cobalt, copper, diamonds, gold. So these are material. Most of these we use to manufacture equipment. Your gold is stores of value. Your copper is involved in manufacturing of steel and other products, your laptops and those type of stuff. And then DRC is sitting at $28.5 billion, and then we see Tunisia at 20 billion, which is textile. Textile is basically material, the sewing, the thing. Then electricity goods and agricultural goods. So your farming, it's a big industry. So we have to reconsider at the global scale how we can manage the African in the global scale, as we have an oil disruption and supply chain disruption. And again, looking at what's happening in Hamas with oil, and Africa having the opportunity as an alternative for supply chain management. Then you see Cote d'Ivoire sitting at $8.4 billion with cocoa, cashmere, and petroleum again. So we see most of these African exports for 2025 were basically oil. So they can improve with market share. They can reconsider again in order to be an alternative to supply chain, and to improve the global economy, and how things are done in the global economy. And then that's what I will cover today. So we have to be at the lookout, as the tension is still going on. The negotiations are changing because of tariffs involvement, and prices. Economists are saying prices won't be going less than 3%, even if things are sorted. So we have to be on a lookout that the oil price will go above 8%. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I'm out. And this is your boy Gentroos, the teacher, your analyst, your economist. Thank you.